Larissa is a tall Russian woman with a top bitch temperament. Her face radiates permanent anger for no visible reason. Maybe her life was just not good, or maybe she's just been following someone's orders and hates everyone. I first met her a couple years ago while walking my dog in the neighborhood. We were walking toward her, but before we got any closer, she started screaming, "Take your stupid dog away. My dog will kill yours." Okay, no problem. You just want to avoid contact. That's fine. We have other dogs to play with. From time to time, I would see this angry woman and her aggressive dog from a distance, and each time we chose to walk on the other side of the street just to avoid her. Approximately a year later, passing through a narrow lane, we found ourselves face to face. Surprisingly, both dogs behaved almost differently. The woman's dog is big, hairy chow mix. It was the end of the summer, and the dog was covered with a thick dirt fur coat. Business is business, and a new customer for our grooming salon would be a really good thing. As politely as I could, I invited the woman to check out our service. She replied, "Which grooming salon do you mean? Is it the blah blah on the avenue? I was there once. It's the worst place I ever saw. The female groomer there is a bitch, and the man shouldn't be permanent to work with the animals. The receptionist there is nasty as hell, and the whole place is dirty." One can only imagine how I felt, being the manager of a place. "Okay," I said, and backed off. 3 days later, I saw the same woman at my salon. She was waiting for her dog to be groomed. It's easy to imagine the extent of my surprise. I called my receptionist into my office and asked her privately, "What is this all about?" "You mean Larissa in the waiting room?" asked the receptionist. "She's been our customer for about 2 years. She visits us twice a year for grooming and once for a vet checkup. Each time she complains about everything. She argues with everyone. Each time she complains about everything. She argues with everybody, and then she comes back. No need to mention that she never tips the groomer, or even gives a smile or a thanks. It happens. People are different. They can be bitchy. It is their right in a free country. Also, business is business, and as long as she pays her bills with her attitude, it's okay with my management. After a while, the woman and her dog disappeared from my neighborhood. Curious about this strange customer, I checked her file and discovered that she had changed her address, but she continued to come to our office once or twice a year. A couple years later, during a slow business period, we got a call that a dog of our long-term customer needed an emergency pet visit, but the owner could not bring the dog herself. I agreed to pick up the dog. About a half an hour of driving, we arrived at the pickup address. The technician came with me to help carry the heavy dog down the stairs, and the owner called to tell her that we had arrived. "I'll be home soon," she said, rather impolitely. "10 minutes passed, then 15, and still no one came. We called again and got an angry response. 'I'm coming.' Another 10 minutes passed before my old friend Larissa turned the corner and approached the building carrying a couple of grocery bags containing gallons Another 10 minutes passed before my old friend Larissa turned the corner and approached the building carrying a couple grocery bags containing a gallon of milk. Another 20 minutes passed and we were back on our way to the office. Of course, Larissa gave the technician a hard time. He had handled the dog incorrectly, forgetting to put the soft pillow under his head. Among the other things, nothing in the woman's temperament had changed. Sorry, I have to sneeze so badly. There was a traffic jam, and we spent twice as much time on the road going back. To survive our close proximity to the confined space of the car, I asked a few obvious questions. What happened to your dog? How is he feeling recently? How comfortable are your dogs? Turns out she actually has 2 now. And at the new address, and so on. Suddenly, I was talking to a completely different person. We had to move because the stupid landlord didn't welcome my second dog. It was very cold for my children. She meant the dogs at the previous apartment. Thank God, in the new one, it's warm in the winter and cold in the summer. There's a park next to the building, so my kids, my dogs, have plenty of space to walk and play. Oh, I love them so much. Yesterday, as usual, I gave them a cup of milk and honey in the morning, and suddenly I discovered that my angel, my chow mix, had a bad appetite. I was so upset. He had kept shaking his head on one side at a time. He is probably in pain because every time I touched his left ear, he would bite me. I don't blame him. It's my fault. I should have been more gentle. My other dog, she's such a sweetheart. It's upsetting to see that Max is in a bad mood. There was no need for me to participate in the conversation anymore. Larissa just kept talking and talking about her dogs. She found a million sweet words to say about them. How could it be that 2 different personalities could exist within one person? Do you think it's normal?